In meditation, we often begin deepening our capacity to be aware by first training in the skill of returning our attention to an object, our anchor, repeatedly. This is how we strengthen our agency to direct the energy of our awareness. Once we figure out what our work is, we do it repeatedly, regardless of how hard or boring it is. What has helped me return repeatedly to my own hard work of liberation is connecting to the joy aspect of awakened care, which helps me celebrate and feel inspired by doing work that matters in the world. When I am practicing awakened care, I am experiencing the streams of love, compassion, and joy flowing together, collecting in my mind and body as a potent energy of vulnerability and truth, while also pulsating as the very nature of my mind. However, these three streams are also full of data and energy that must be practiced and embodied before releasing them into the ocean of awakened care. Like many people growing up in the Christian church, knowing John chapter 3, verse 16 by heart was, for me, standard practice. The verse says, "For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." It bothered me that God, as the Father and as a Father, would send his only Son to earth to struggle with a whole bunch of hard-headed people and to eventually be executed by them. I never understood the significance of Jesus consenting to be crucified and how he paid it all by dying for our sins, especially since it seems like I am still paying for shit. It was Buddhism and the practice of Dharma that helped me to understand Christianity in a way that made sense for me. I began to relate to God in the same way I relate to my own awakened mind, as a boundless expression of conscious energy that permeates everything. This conscious energy was like a great ocean that my mind was trying to remember to flow back into. And this great ocean is always trying to lure me back to oneness. If this great ocean of conscious energy is God, then Jesus was just an expression of this experience, whose only intention was to lead everyone back to the oneness, the great ocean, and God. In Christianity, it is believed that Jesus was a physical expression of God who intentionally emanated here to liberate beings through his ministry. I believe that in his dying, Jesus became a kind of living effigy, whose torture and eventual execution mirrored the violence of the Roman occupation for people to see firsthand. That mirroring became a way for collective trauma to be metabolized, helping people to understand the violence of the state and make choices to divest themselves of that violence and turn more strongly back to God's love. I also believe that because of Jesus' awakened nature, he had the capacity as a living effigy to absorb the violence directed toward him and release that energy back into emptiness and the nature of God. It later dawned on me how much love it takes to choose to enter a situation knowing that trying to get people free will involve work, and that the cost of that work doesn't matter, because all you want is for people to be free. I don't believe that Jesus liked all the people he came to free, but only that he believed, as the emanation of God, that all beings deserve to have access to the resources that allow them to be safe, free, happy, and well. There's a fierceness to the practice and embodiment of love. It does not let go. It leads to the needs of others, but does not forget what we need. It considers everything and leaves out nothing. And the love we offer to the world is sourced from the love we cultivate for ourselves. Self-love is a spring of clear, fresh water we offer to ourselves first, which makes it more possible for us to offer it to others who are also thirsty from the opposite of self-love, which is self-hate. Our deepest wish is to be in love, to surrender to something that is not an old, familiar wave of grief, isolation, or fear. For me, love has involved a basic yet profound acceptance of who and what I am. It is the basic labor of allowing myself to be without judgment or policing. When I allow myself to be, then I can do the work of emotional labor, experiencing and metabolizing the pain to allow love to open back to space itself. Love is being myself and then wanting others to have the space to be themselves. When people have the space to be themselves, they can then gain access to the resources they need to be well, happy, and safe. The space of acceptance is the soil from which our resources are gathered, like a harvest in autumn. Love means we touch the ground of reality as it is, not as we want it to be. It is the labor of telling the truth and allowing the truth to tell us. And none of this is supposed to be easy. Allowing ourselves to expand the pain into the space and then to start identifying with the space is how love frees us. Often, I can feel the world pulsating with love, radiating this warm, sensual energy that I register as an invitation for me to consent to being accepted and cared for. I want to fall into this experience of trusting the care. But this is challenging because it reminds me that I am self-identified with the constriction of pain rather than the space that love is. Because we survive so much violence, pain is more familiar, and it feels much more like home than the freedom of connecting to love. I have worked to allow my intention to return to recognizing that I am embodied, holding space for pleasure and pain while practicing gentleness. This is how I offer love to my body. Soon, happiness begins to arise as the feeling of being content and at ease with how my body is showing up in the moment. Tension melts away, and I am not engaging in an old, familiar judgment of my body. I feel safe to be in the moment with my sensations, and that is the experience of love.